You are listening to Lighthearted Leadership with Lizette, Season 3.
What would you tell somebody about this book? I would say if you're looking for that individualized approach to how to work through some of those situations that maybe you felt were difficult, how do I get, leadership? How do I make that next jump? Especially when you're being told, well, you're not ready. You're not ready to make that next jump. And I was told that in my past, oh, you can't become a director because, you're just not ready. Your soft skills aren't there. Okay, well, what is it that I'm
All
missing?
right, welcome. Welcome, everyone, to Lighthearted Leadership with Lizette. And I have with me Miriam. Miriam, I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm going to let you say it if you want to. And then Donna. And Donna, just to be fair, I'm not going to say your last name either. Maybe you want your anonymity, that's fine too. So I'm here today with Miriam and Donna, and we're talking power, poise, and presence. So pull up a chair. We're in our living room here, our virtual living room, talking power, poise, and presence with Miriam and Donna. So just to welcome you here. I'm so glad to have the both of you here. So welcome. Miriam, maybe you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Miriam Pakanowski. I'm here in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a social impact consultant working in the health promotion space. And I've had the privilege of working with you, Lizette, for over a year, and you've transformed my entire approach. So thank you for having me today. I'm really honored.
Absolutely. Lovely to have you here. Donna, how about you?
I am Donna Whitcomb. I'm here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I am thrilled to be here. I kind of echo what Miriam's saying. I've worked with you, Lizette, I think for almost a year now, and it's been transformational for me. So I'm excited to be here and talk about my journey and hopefully help others.
Awesome. Thank you. So both of you are very familiar with you're familiar with me, but you're also familiar with power, poise, and presence. And it's this, okay, so if you haven't, you're under a rock or something. So I've written a book. Actually, the book, for some reason, the book just sort of came to me as I was working with so many people. So I wrote it all down, and the book is now published. It's out there. And I wanted really to talk to the both of you because I know it from the author's perspective. You know it a little bit more from maybe sort of some of the inside stories, but then also from reading and experiencing sort of on your own. So I'm kind of curious to ask the both of you what drew you to power, poise, and presence? And I don't know who wants to take that first.
I feel like I've lived power, poise, and presence through our sessions together. For me, it's been incredible because I'm passionate, but that's not enough. The power, poise, and presence has really enabled me to put a structure around it and actually enact the things that I care so deeply about, and to show up as my best self. So I love the book. I've read it and I love it because there are real world examples and really kind of tangible strategies for putting into practice all the things that you've taught me over the past year and the things that I've actually needed to take a completely new approach to my work.
Thanks for sharing, Miriam. What about you, Donna? What sort of drew you? Before we hear from Donna, first a word from our sponsors, HoneyBook. HoneyBook is the all-in-one platform where you can organize your business your way. Whether you have started a side hustle, you're a virtual assistant, a coach, a consultant, check out HoneyBook. Everything you need to run your business is there, from invoices, proposals, contracts, scheduling, and automation. Best of all, use your discount code in the show notes to grab a 60% off your first year of HoneyBook. That's in the show notes. Grab it today and check out HoneyBook. All right, now back to Donna.
Yeah, I would say that, I think that what really drew me was the fact that I think, like Miriam, I've been called in definitely a lot of meetings and leadership discussions. And when you get feedback from your leaders and your bosses that, oh, you're a very passionate person. but I don't believe they've meant it as a compliment when they've shared that information with me in the past. Yeah. And I think that, I really wanted something to help me realize that, I can be my authentic self. And it really drew me to that through our sessions. And then the book has helped just reinforce it and be a great reminder that you can grab and share and just read certain sections out of it to help just remind me of those types of things that I've learned over the course of our time together, of being able to be my authentic self. And it is okay. And be able to be comfortable in situations where in the past I've been, more stressed about how am I coming across? Am I coming across too passionate? Am I coming across in the wrong way? So it's just helped me be more, I guess, comfortable in my own skin in those leadership type of meetings and those executive type of discussions where in the past I was very uncomfortable and very nervous in those types of discussions.
Following on from that, I've done things that I would previously been way too scared to have done in the past. I would never have believed that I would be capable of doing the things that I've actually been able to step up and do thanks to this approach. Like I've actually, managed change and dealt with all different stakeholders and said things and done things and asked for things that I would have never been courageous enough to have done in the past.
Thanks for sharing both. As you were talking, Donna, one of the things that was coming up for me as I was listening to you is that feedback that we get sometimes can send us for a spiral, for maybe lack of a better word, because then we start to figure, or we start to second guess ourselves of, oh, well, what do they mean by that? It's maybe not so positive. And then you start to second guess yourself of, well, maybe I should do this or maybe I should do that. And then every movement from there is just, it's always a question mark for you. And so I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about either an example or what's changed for you.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of what has changed for me in the past has been, you sit in certain meetings and you need to get a point across, because my entire career I've been in quality, where of course, whenever you're in a quality position, you're sometimes having to say things that is not going to be accepted very well by the business. I'm maybe stopping product from going out the door. I'm going to make things more expensive because we're maybe needing to discard some, product. Those types of discussions that you have to have in a room. And, you get told sometimes with the feedback, like you said, that, oh, you're coming across, you're too passionate. You're coming across too harsh. In those types of conversations. And I'm like, well, I thought I was being okay, right? I'm not sure what you're talking about. And then, like you said, you try different types of things. Oh, so you get different coaches and mentors in my past have been like, oh, try this, try that. Oh, you should say this. And for example, I've had some of those conversations with my husband, and men sometimes can say certain things in a conversation, but a woman says the exact same sentence and it doesn't come off the same way. It's not handled in the same way. And so through those types of discussions with individuals, I've been able to learn from your book, from the Power, Poise, and Presence, of being able to make sure that I'm listening to myself, listening to those feelings inside of me, to know if I am getting a bit overly passionate, what those feelings are like, what that level is, making sure that I'm maintaining that poise in a certain type of meeting or conversation with an individual, to make sure that I'm coming across and I'm getting my message across, but it's also being well received, because it's not helpful if they're not receiving the message as well. So yeah. I think that that's probably the things that have helped me the most, is being able to recognize those signals and being able to display that to still get my point across and want the information we need to so we can move forward as a business, but also not lose myself because I'm trying to do somebody else's ideas or somebody else's thoughts.
I love that. Not lose yourself.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Not and Miriam, I see you like
Yes.
there's so many things I think that resonate probably with what Donna said. So I'm just going to let you
Absolutely.
comment.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's not a lot that I can add to that because I think you really nailed it, Donna. But the past year has been a really interesting learning process for me. It's been about sort of testing what works, what doesn't work, what resonates for me professionally and what doesn't. And I'm actually changing up a lot of what I'm doing as a result of that. And I've kind of been able to identify that I have a real passion about helping people in a specific area, and I now have the confidence to say no if something doesn't resonate for me or if I'm not the right fit. Whereas in the past, the people-pleasing tendencies would have been, I'll try and bend myself into some kind of shape to try and accommodate you and then not be happy about it. It's like, actually, it's healthier and better and more honest for everyone if we're actually clear on whether or not there's alignment. And I'm very definite about what I will do and what I won't do and where my expertise is and where it's not. And I'm much more brave about stepping up where I feel that this is something that's right for me. And I'm having conversations that I would never have been able to have with potential clients or potential people that I could be working with. And I don't know yet. I'm still at a very exploratory stage in my career. But it's very exciting because I'm not just doing the old stuff that people have asked me to do for a long time.
Yeah, this whole transformative Miriam really that is come about and done stuff, been brave, been bold, and it seems like you've felt more yourself in being able to do some of those brave and bold things.
I had a conversation with someone yesterday who is considering starting a not-for-profit, and I just looked him in the eye and said, are you looking for a CEO? I would never have been brave enough to do that in the past, and it's exactly what I want to be doing. It's kind of like it's a building an organization from the ground, and it's in the area of mental health, which is a real passion of mine, and there'd be scope for creativity, still within a framework, but it's kind of like, whew, I don't even know if this is going to happen or if I'll find another partner somewhere else, but I know what I want, and I know what's important to me, and I won't be afraid to ask for the things that are really critical. So that to me is so liberating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so beautiful to see that transformation and seeing you going after some of those things. And I'm delighted that Power, Poise, and Presence, this whole authentic leadership book that I wrote has been kind of impactful for you.
It's been a game changer,
especially given. Wow, thank you.
It has.
But I mean, it's one of the things that comes up for me is that, especially Miriam, with you being in Australia and having had, we all experienced COVID, but to a certain extent, it seemed like it was different for you from where other people were coming from in the world, and even in the US, like it was so elongated. So this whole concept of mental health and your children's mental health, and that this means so much to you, and you're now able to advocate and go out there and seek those things that you're where you want to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that of the this was a huge thing for you,
sure.
I think.
For sure. It has changed us irrevocably. It's unbelievable. I'm in Melbourne. We were the most locked down cities in the world. Maybe China was locked down for longer, but we were like right up there. So my kids basically were at home from school for 2 years and missed out on their education, and everyone was kind of going a bit crazy. And My organisation, I mean, this had a huge impact. We had to cancel our appeal, which is our main source of funding. But looking back, I can see it was a transformative process because it forced us to kind of look at things from a completely different angle and a holistic kind of angle and say, well, yes, we're fundraising for a specific organisation, but we also have responsibilities to our local community. Personally, it was the best thing I could do to respond to the crisis that I was in, because I ran a hackathon, which was an online discussion about eating disorders in teenagers, and it brought together 60 health experts from across the world, from between Israel and Australia, basically, and we all brainstormed about eating disorders. And we had people who came on who had a lived experience of a child with an eating disorder, or had recovered themselves, or were experiencing it themselves. It was the most healing, beautiful thing that I could do. You know, we were in a crisis at the time, but by being able to give back and giving a voice to people who were experiencing these challenges, it was such a powerful experience, and it really resonated with so many people. And I personally felt very like it was a very healing experience. So, and as a result of that, I've just completely changed my approach, and I'm just looking at what I'm doing and how I'm doing it in a very, very different way. So the world is a different place, but we're different people. I think we're better off for it ultimately.
Mm. And I love that story because it's almost the transformation you were having through power, poise, and presence. Like it was giving to everything you were doing, to this
And had
whole
I not
community and the whole hackathon.
And had I not had your support, Lizette, I would never have had the guts to do it. It was so scary. You know, I sort of logged on with a Zoom meeting and, didn't quite connect initially. And people were gradually sort of filling the room. But I was able to pull together a whole lot of volunteers to facilitate this thing and participate. It went for 6 hours. It was awesome. I was high. I really felt like it was something so powerful and meaningful, and I could not have done it without you. I would have been too scared.
I'm thrilled you were able to do it and tackle the fear and be able to sort of figure that part out and take the next step and sort of take that risk. And so where I want to switch into is Donna, because I mean, Donna, you work in quality, so risk isn't necessarily where you go, but you manage it, right? You manage risk, and I think risk is one of the things that we talk about in the book as well. But I'm curious, sort of your take on that, and how things from the chapters on and the discussions in the book about risk and taking those risks. How does that? How do you incorporate that in your life, if you do at all?
Yeah, I think we've talked in the past. I would have never really probably have defined myself as a risk taker. Yeah, because of probably my role and being in quality my entire career. We're not risk takers. We're known to not be risk takers in organizations and in roles. But thinking about how I've applied things to my life and being like you're saying, Miriam, of being able to step out there and try something new and do something new. um, I think that I've learned that there are risks we take throughout our life. Maybe not in our particular role or a job, which is what I was probably always thinking about whenever I'd say, "Oh, I'm not a risk taker." But I look back at my career and things and family and things we've done, places we've went, and a lot of people would be like, "Oh my goodness, you really do take a lot of risk. You've changed jobs, you've been willing to make those leaps, you've done those types of things, and all of those things are risks in our lives." And I think that we need to be able to weigh those things out and be open for those types of changes and improving things, because usually whenever something ends, something better is maybe behind the next door, right? And we just got to remember we got to try. And the only way that we're going to do that is to be able to be willing to take a little bit of risk, take a little bit of a leap, and be willing to do things that are out of our comfort zone. Like for me, being able to do a podcast with you guys and be recorded is definitely something that is out of my comfort zone for sure. But I want to be able to open that. And I think that's where the power, poise, and presence has helped me be willing to do those types of things.
Yeah, it's always sort of surprised me that anyone that I've worked with, to a certain extent, once we start examining some of the topics, that we talk about in power, poise, and presence, they almost acknowledge of, oh wow, yeah, I kind of have been a risk taker. I've never really thought of myself as a risk taker. And it's just this huge sort of aha moment that they have. And then they end up, doing things that surprise them. Hackathon, showing up to a podcast, just taking that next, that next step. And you never know what's around the corner, right? Yeah. I
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm curious, from both sort of Miriam and Donna, what would you like if you were describing the book to a friend? What would you tell them, or what's a story that you would either tell them, or what would you tell them about the book?
I would tell them that it's a way of sort of stepping outside of what you've been doing in the past and viewing yourself from a very different perspective. If there's something that you've dreamed of doing and been too scared to do, it kind of gives you a pathway and sort of tells you, I love the biomarkers thing. It tells you how you're going to feel when you're successful. So basically, don't wait for it to happen. Just step into that feeling. To me, that is liberating, because I've been in really scary situations where I've just thought, no, I don't feel that way. I'm going to choose to feel that way, and that's super empowering. And I think that to me, that's probably the most outstanding part of the book, because success is a feeling. It actually is a feeling, and whatever it feels like, as you say, is an individual thing. But you can, most of us can identify how we feel when things are great. So we could just, I would say to a friend, this book enables you to go to one of the, to view the things that you're really afraid of, and to just see them, but actually step over to the other side and know what that success feels like, and just be there before you've even done it. And that then just means that the success just follows. So it's very empowering in terms of moving you through that stage quickly and efficiently.
It's so funny you say that, Miriam, because the I almost I almost subtitled the book Biomarkers, but then I thought, no one's really going to understand what biomarkers are, so I didn't. And the biomarkers has been the one thing that people are like, "Oh, tell me about that. What's a biomarker?" And because I work in healthcare, and Donna, you know this too, because you work in a highly regulated field, that because I'm in healthcare, it's that thing that I know so much about. I know about biomarkers. And if you're listening, like, you're like, wait, what's a biomarker? So a biomarker is biological, and it marks something. So your temperature, that's a biomarker. It's a biomarker of health and disease. It's the easiest one that I tend to give. So when you take your temperature and it's normal, then you know, okay, hey, I'm healthy. If you take your temperature and it's elevated, then you might think, okay, maybe I'm sick somehow. I've got something. What do you have? Don't know, but you've got something, right? And so in the book, I go through this whole explanation of the biomarkers that you have that are they're reversible, whereas the biomarkers that we typically use in medicine, they're not reversible, right? You don't take your temperature and then all of a sudden that temperature, that thermometer then changes the temperature in you, but you have all sorts of biomarkers, the way you stand, let's say, that, and we go through the power, poise, and presence biomarker. So power, what is that? What is that to you? And it's not necessarily when you're in power, but when you feel powerful. what's going on for you? How are you standing? What are you thinking about? What are the memories that you have? What are the sensations? What are the emotions? What are the smells? The motion? There's all sorts of things. And all of those things are then biomarkers. You put them all together, and that then tells you, okay, power, not power, those sorts of things. And so that's kind of what Miriam was talking about. So I just kind of wanted to give a background to that really quick, because some people may have heard biomarkers and think, oh my gosh, what is that? But anyway, yeah, I do go sort of deep into that, and then I put it back at the reader's discretion. Like, use them, figure these things out one on one, and it's very individualized. So I'm thrilled, Miriam, that's resonated with you, because it seems like that seems to be the one thing that
It's what's different. To me, it's what's different about your book. It's something that's really kind of stands out, because there's lots of books that will tell you, try and imagine your best self and whatever. That's all great, and that's very helpful. But the biomarkers is something tangible that you can actually act on straight away. And that's what I like about it. You actually feel successful before you've done this thing successfully. And that in itself is contagious. Other people pick up on that, and it completely changes the tone of the conversation or the project or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I completely agree. And I think that that's one of the things that drew me to that section as well, because it is so individualized. I had spent so much time, going through different leadership seminars and things, reading different books. And it was, like you said, very specific on, how to do things. And this is what you should do. And this was listening to yourself, which to me was like a new approach of being able how to work through some of those feelings. So I know, Lynette, you asked about what would you tell somebody about this book? I would say, if you're looking for that individualized approach to how to work through some of those situations that maybe you felt were difficult, how do I get, leadership? How do I make that next jump? Especially when you're being told, well, you're not ready. You're not ready to make that next jump. And I was told that in my past, oh, you can't become a director because, you're just not ready. Your soft skills aren't there. Okay, well, what is it that I'm missing? What? And this helps you realize as an individual what it is that you're missing, because it's about you as an individual and what you're feeling, and recognizing those biomarkers, as you were talking about. And to me, that was what makes this book and made this so much more useful to me as a leadership tool in improving that. And I think I've mentioned to you in the past, I wish I would have had this earlier in my career. I can't imagine where I would have been if I would have had some of this and known some of this back then, to have broke down some of those walls that I just felt like I'll never get through them.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah, and you have it now. So there's no reason that you can't use it now, yes, right? And then get to where you want to go. So wherever, because I'm a true believer of wherever you are, there's so much potential left before you. So yeah, that's why thrilled that that you can use it now in your career. And if you're starting out in your career, grab the book. It'll be helpful for you. Yeah, thank you both. Last sort of question that I've got on my mind is, what haven't I asked you, or what was something that you wanted to get across today that we've left unsaid? I kind of want to give you the opportunity to take us there.
I would just reiterate. The only thing I would just reiterate, and maybe it's been said, but I would want to maybe reiterate it, that if you are just beginning your career, like your book, I've got it, giving it to my daughter who is just starting her career. She graduated a couple of years ago from college, and just starting that journey in her career of trying to figure out what she wants to do, what's the next step, and learning all about working and being in the work environment. And I'm so excited to make sure she has this, because I do think that it's something to help learn what it is that you want to do, how you can have that power, poise, and presence in these different kind of conversations, especially as a woman. Sometimes whenever you're in a very male dominated field, which my daughter is an engineer,
Oh my
so
gosh.
it tends to be a very male dominated field. And I just am so excited that she's going to have this at the start of her career and help her through that journey. So I think it's something, you know, while it's great for executives and for me, and it's been very helpful, I think it's helpful also at the beginning of your career as you're trying to grow and figure out what you want to do, what you want to be when you grow up, right? Where do I see myself in 5 years? This
Yeah,
can
I
help me do
agree
that.
fully. I also kind of wish, sorry, Lizette, I kind of wish I'd come across this earlier as well, because as you're saying, as a woman, you know, it's hard. It's hard to sort of step up and take those positions of leadership, even if we know what we're capable of. And I probably would have identified things or kind of just done things somewhat differently in the past, but it means that now in the future I have a much clearer way forward. I can really see much more clearly where I want to go and what's important to me, and that's invaluable.
And I would
Oh, go
say
ahead.
it's also helped me with my marriage. I've actually deployed some things with my husband. It's actually helped with resolving some conflict in conversations with
It's
him. So
Like, do tell
it can
more.
actually help
You can't
with
just
your
leave
marriage
it
as
at that,
well.
Donna.
because your
Give us
communication
a
style
little
changes.
tidbit here.
You approach things differently. Your whole
It
communication
does.
changes because you take all the emotion out of it, basically, and you say, well, this is what matters. This is what I'm, you know, and you're just so much more empowered and so much just more grounded as well, which is much healthier. So you're able to have those tough conversations from a much more courageous place. And that's got to be a healthy thing.
Heck yeah.
Yes, totally. I mean, I think that that's partly what it is. It took the emotion that I would feel and I would catch myself, which then of course escalates in, you know, conversations that don't get anywhere with your loved one at times. And it helped me be able to, like you said, state it very clearly. I was empowered. He actually, I think, respected that more and helped us get through conversations that would have probably
Yeah.
not have been good in the past. And it just actually has helped a lot there as well. So I'd say maybe that's something unsaid that we haven't
Wow.
said.
Oh my gosh. I didn't
It
even
can
know
help with your
this.
marriage as well.
Yeah. There's a
So
whole new
not only is it a leadership book, this is a relationship, marriage sort of book.
It's
it's
a
a how do you
relationship book.
perceive yourself book. It's a how do you show
Yes.
up in every relationship, whether it's
Yeah.
professional or personal. It's who are you and where do you want to be and who do you want to be and how do you intend to get there in every domain.
This has been
Yeah,
like super
exactly.
eye-opening for me because I did not know any of these things about my book.
There's a whole new segment of the market for you, Lizette.
My mind is like exploding right now. Just having these just whoa, you got to be kidding me that it's done this for you. And the other part that's sort of where I'm deeply touched is, you know, both of you said, I wish I had this when I started. And it nearly brings like tears to my eyes because this has been a labor of love to bring this book to bear. And as an author, you never know, is this even going to help anyone? Sometimes you're thinking like, well, but doesn't everybody know this? And it's not going to hit. And it's super impactful for me to hear that this did have an impact for you, not just professionally, not just how you're showing up in your work conversations or personally with your family, but relationally as well. So, whoa. I yeah, I may have to write like a different sort of workbook now for people.
I want to see it. I want to do it. I love the workbooks. I have, as a postscript, I love your workbooks.
Yep.
They once again provide the framework. When I've got the passion, I've got the creativity, they kind of help me nail it down to a plan. And that's very empowering.
Donna and Miriam, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to talk about power, poise, and presence and how it's had an impact in your life. And thank you so much for sharing of your time and yourself here with us. Donna, really appreciated you being here and stepping out of your comfort zone to do a podcast, which you'd never done before. Bravo. Love it. Love that risk taker in you. All right, listeners, you heard it from Miriam and from Donna. So not only is this thing going to help you in your career, in leadership, is going to help you personally, it's going to help your relationships. So go grab the book. It's up on Amazon. Grab it from my website, lizettewarner.com. I want to thank both Miriam and Donna. Thank you so much for joining us today. You have been listening to Lighthearted Leadership with Lizette.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.